woo, woo. Welcome to another episode of Chillin with the Girls. And we are beyond the surface too. So
Yes.
if you guys joined us last Friday, we were talking about dating and
Mm-hmm.
trust and love and intimacy. And we kind of defined some of that stuff, that we went through and that we experienced,
Yeah.
but today we have some experts, y'all.
Woohoo! Yes.
Yes.
We have some guests, we have some experts, and we just want to introduce you to them. We have Mr. Hubert and Miss Dianna Lake, and they've been married for over 40 years.
Wow, it's
And
awesome.
come on now. And
Yes.
they've been coaching couples and stuff for over 10 years. And so they were blessed and honored to be installed as the coordinators of married couple ministry.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so we are excited to have them with us today. And they have a profound passion for helping couples build healthy and fulfilling relationships in covenant with God and with each other. And so, their last name is Lakes, and I just love their business name, Love by the Lakes, right?
Yes.
That's excellent, right? Okay, so we're just going to kind of pick their brains and see how they can help you all out there. And we're just going to talk to them for a minute. So,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, I guess I can start out with the
Yeah.
first question. So, I was just thinking, so, we were talking about love and intimacy and all of that. So, what would you guys say the difference between love, lust, and infatuation? What do you think?
That one
Okay,
is
I'll,
deep.
I'll start. I'll start. First of all, I'm not an expert. I'm just a person who been there, has been some experience. So,
Okay.
Experience.
okay. Well, love, lust, and infatuation. First, lust is a strong desire. This is what I feel. It's a
Okay.
strong desire, whether it's a good something good or something bad.
Mm-hmm.
But lust, we know, if according to the Bible, is a sin, so we shouldn't lust after something.
Mm-hmm.
Infatuation is more like a fantasy. If you feel a strong attachment to something, you want it, you know. So it's like a fantasy. And love is something that accepts imperfections. It loves unconditionally. It's a everlasting, and it grows over time. So I would put lust and infatuation in a temporary category. Those things are temporary, but
Mm.
love is an everlasting thing.
That's good.
And so
Oh,
those are
that's
different
excellent.
That's
related to
good.
that.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
excellent.
lust is like an addiction. Gotta have it.
Mm-hmm.
I want it. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, unfortunately, it's for something that you should not have. It don't
Mm-hmm.
belong to you. And that you just it is constantly on your mind. And lust and infatuation are missing a component called commitment. It's called
That's
all
good.
in. It's missing a component called all in. Committed. What are your motives?
Mm-hmm.
If your motives are up here, but your motives aren't in here, if your heart is not involved with where your head and your flesh are,
Mm-hmm.
then why are we here? So love is full of commitment and concern about the whole person
Mm-hmm.
and what matters to that person, and not just being obsessed with that person and what you
Mm-hmm.
can do with that person. Every act responsibly has an action, and those actions involve a thought process, or they should involve a thought process.
Okay. Because I was thinking about infatuation. Would you say that was something like you see something that you really don't see, or you hoping it's
Yeah,
Like a
there,
fantasy.
but it
right.
actually isn't. You know?
Like some people are infatuated with marriage. The
Yeah.
idea of marriage. Having a husband, having a life together.
Yeah.
But I heard on something I was watching on TV the other day. It said you want our rhythm, but you don't want our blues. So
Say
it
that again.
comes.
Say it again, Diana. Come on
I
now.
love it.
Come with it.
So
Wow.
Wow.
there are ingredients that are important, or else the end result is a failure, and a
Yeah.
failure without a fight. So it's important to have all of those components play a part in what it is you want. Is this something that you want, something that you need, and something that you're willing to commit to? That's where my thoughts are concerning
Wow.
that.
So when you were talking about that, I was thinking about friendship. Do you think a couple should be friends and have a friendship before they get tied all in, to like loving each other or whatever, to a basic like marriage relationship? You think they should
Sure,
be friends?
because friends, they like each other. It might be a little important that you like each other before you start to find out if you're in love with each other. Do you even
Right.
halfway like each other?
Right,
But
right.
friendship just means also too that you're showing yourself friendly, first of all, and friends are considerate of one another. And so you have some mutual likeness of things that you are interested in, things that you have some of the same values. You're friends in the sense that you have some of the same interests. I like some things about you. You like some things about me. Our conversation, things we like to do for fun, things that pique our interest. We have some likeness, and I'm not bashing yours versus you bashing mine, but I can appreciate some of those things, and some of those things may actually get my attention that I never thought about. But because we're friends and we just like to hang out together and clown around
Yes.
together, at
You
least
know
that's what
what,
we
Diane? I don't even think I back in the day. I don't think they was friends before they got married.
Thank you.
I think they
They didn't
were.
even like, they weren't
They
even in
was set
love.
up. They was like, when you get 18, you gonna
You're right,
marry
Mel.
my daughter.
You're right, Mel. You're right, Mel. You absolutely right. And you know what else they told us?
Exactly.
It's better to marry than to burn.
Right.
That's what they
Yes.
told us.
Yeah,
And that
they
was
left
it,
all
you know?
Look at mommy.
it's,
Oh,
it's
boy.
they left out all of the important parts. And so one of the things that we teach the couples that we talk to is identifying the positive nuggets of what we've learned, of what
Okay.
we've been taught, and what we've observed.
Okay.
Because there are positives and negatives to everything. Every positive
Yeah.
has a negative, every negative has a positive. So
Right.
learning what those healthy takeaways are for your relationship, because your relationship is unique. Your relationship does not have to be identical to that of your parents or families or whoever you've seen in your lifetime. And it does not have to be, you cannot have your mother's and your grandmother's religion, your grandmother and your grandmother's faith. You have to have the relationship
The own,
with God,
yes.
because he's not going to ask about what they did when you get up
Right.
there and he starts, running it back to you. He
That's
wants to know
Right.
about you. And so
right.
you
Yeah.
have to have a personal stand on that. And so therefore, learning what are the positive takeaways from those relationships that we have been involved in, where your parents were together. How did your father do with your mother? How did your mother do with your father? That type of thing. Was either one of them even in your life? So we bring all of that into the
Yeah.
conversation because it matters about who you're trying to become together.
Oh,
So how long
wow.
do you think you should be in a relationship before you get to the next level, before you get real serious or whatever? Just your own opinion.
I got my answers, but I'm gonna let him go ahead.
I'm hearing what you got.
In my opinion, like we dated for 4 years, and not
Right.
because we said after 4 years we're gonna get married. It just took that long, whatever. But in my opinion, if you have two informed adults that what question was that? How long should be left on? If you have two informed adults that have the same desires and the same wants
Okay.
with each other. They love each other, and that there's nothing that they love each other. I think time don't exist.
Ooh, okay.
That's just my opinion, because like I said, the key word to me is informed, mature adults with the
Okay.
same desire.
So it
Wow.
can be 2 weeks.
Yes, because and another reason why I say this, you have people who've been married who might have been married for 20 years or 30 years and turn around they divorce.
That's true.
You have people who probably dated, or who you might have people who have counseling, got divorced. People hadn't had an inkling of counseling, and here 50 years later they still together.
I know some.
So even though counseling helps, it's not a guarantee that you're gonna live together. That's why you have to be your mind made up, no turning back, and mature adults got the same goals in mind. So
Yeah.
to me, time doesn't exist to me
That's
in that era.
interesting.
So when you said, I'm sorry, go ahead. That's fine.
Right.
No, I'm just saying.
I was
go
going to
ahead,
say this. So when you said time is, time, it doesn't matter. I'm thinking that's like you said, older, older, mature adult, not for like somebody that's
The
like
young,
20,
Young.
21, right? 22, 25, right?
Well, let me chime in on that.
well, let me
Okay, go ahead. Chime in.
Okay.
Chime in.
I'm here to chime in too.
I understand your reasoning points, but like I say, I'm taking from my experience.
Okay,
I got
got
married.
you.
I got married at 20. She was 21.
Nah,
How old are you?
no. I turned 20 9 days before the wedding.
Oh,
He
okay.
turned 22 9 days after.
Oh,
So that's part of the reason why we dated for 4 years. I'm from a traditional Christian family. We are on two complete opposite sides of the track. He's introducing his father to his sisters and brothers at a Thanksgiving dinner prayer. And in my mind, I'm thinking, wow. But we already knew each other for a minute then. We had not been married, but it's our appreciation of who we are to each other that overrides all of that.
And like she said earlier, you take the nuggets from the way you've been raised up on your side, the good nuggets and the bad nuggets, and you come together with your own. And so I set in my mind, I came from the bad side, divorced parents, divorced uncles, 10 fathers, and 5 different fathers of the same family. And so me looking back at those things, no, I don't want that. I don't want this. I'm gonna take this one with me. I'm gonna take that one with me when I go. And so my desire was to always be married. And so when I decided to get married, my family, oh my God, you too young. You don't know that girl, this and that, all that kind of stuff. Are you ready to get married? And this is no lie. My response to that question, are you ready to get married? I said, I don't know. I ain't never been married.
That was the truth.
I do know that when I did get married, I wasn't gonna do these things that I saw in my family.
Right.
Exactly. Oh, that's hilarious.
So your mind is made up, and you have to be determined what you want.
Mel, what you was gonna say?
Uncle Hugh, wait a minute, because wait a minute. So Uncle Hugh, you saying total strangers that don't know nothing about each other can just come together in 2 weeks, friends for 2 weeks and get married. And that's okay.
Can I say that?
Got you.
Well,
Wait. Can I, before you okay, Mel, can I say this? It's this couple on my job, right? My former job. They went on one date. He was like, "Oh, I'm in love with you. I want to marry you." They got married after one date. Here it is 35, 40 years later. They're still married. They are still married. One date. So I understand what he's talking about with the time thing, but
so it doesn't sound reasonable, but it's possible.
Okay.
Can I say something? Can I say something? I never dated your dad.
yes, you
But
We
you
never
said you
dated.
watched him for a whole year, Mom.
And you said
watched
he
him
walked
turn
y'all
his
home.
Bible. He
That's
was on
right.
the front row.
And he
You
walked
watched
y'all
him
home from
went
church.
home, went down the
That
street.
was your date.
No, no, that was after he asked me to marry him. That I took old people home, stuff like that.
But you weren't
No, we
watching
didn't.
him before.
No, I was busy in school. I was a schoolgirl. I didn't think nobody want to marry me. I'm
Oh,
homey, ugly. You know
Let
what
me
I'm
tell
saying?
you,
You were ugly.
let me tell you, and I understand that, mother, because again, my mother was under, I want to gently call it a dictatorship, the bishop she
oh
was
yeah.
under.
That was it. That's what it
But
was.
they learned a lot from him. But you weren't allowed to be courting, quote
No, we didn't
unquote,
court. We
courting
never
for
courted.
longer than 6 months.
We
And
never
you had to
courted.
get married within that same year.
Mm.
And so there was no real true courtship, like like you were saying, mother. There was no real dating and courtship. They didn't, they barely let you hold hands, kind
No,
of
we
thing.
didn't hold no hands. No.
Right. You didn't, the men sat on one side and the women sat on the other. So it wasn't a real, what we know it as to be now. So that's why the possibility lies therein, because every couple is different. I will say, however, being together 25 years, if you took 25 years to find out if you decide you want to get married, I should have had questions 3 years in. Because by now, if you don't know that's what you want to do, I'm concerned, because when you decide to do it, statistically, so many couples don't make it, because now you've made it a commitment and you've got it on paper and you've got rings and you did everything.
Yeah.
But then that a married couple did, but now you got problems because commitment, that one little act has caused you to have a catastrophe, and now you're trying to make it up as you go along.
You know, if you read my book, because I'm an author, you will find out just what happened. If you read that in my book, my life story.
Okay,
Shot.
Tawana, you're going to have to hook me up with that.
So
Okay.
look, I got to get back to
Yeah.
Go ahead now.
Let's not get back
Talk to Unc right here. Come on, Uncle Hubie.
No, because okay, the reason why I keep stressing this, whatever, because I understand, you could end up, staying married for, a long time, whatever.
Yeah.
But I've heard time and time again, the first 3 to 5 years, the worst years of marriage, you just getting to know each other or whatever. And so since you guys were dating or, had a relationship, you said like 4 years or something.
Yeah, it was 4 years.
Yeah.
Because I was still in high school. So
I was going to say,
okay.
teenagers.
Okay, well, you ain't.
I was still in high school. But the maturity level matters too.
Yes.
Because we were mature.
I totally understand.
We were mature. He could do some things that outdo some women to this day. That, he can give you a perm, he can braid your hair, Mel, he can give you a perm, he can do stuff.
That's great.
Because he came up in that kind of family. That that song, anything you can do, I can do better. I mean, it's just who he is. So recognizing again who you are as individuals and who you are together, you bring 100 to the relationship, not 50-50. Because if you do 50-50, what happened to the other 50?
Yeah.
That's Mel.
So Mel.
Yes.
He said, "Who's that right there? Who's that one right
there?" That's a baby girl. Can you tell?
So on your question now, here's where my double tone or double standard steps in. Because if it was my daughter, I might have had an issue with it because of the fact.
Yes, Lord.
and I'm probably wrong on that end. I probably wrong on that end.
That's not wrong.
But knowing my daughter, if I knew my daughter mindset, her maturity, that would help me be more relaxed. So that a lot of factors play into it. A lot of factors play into it, especially nowadays. Anyhow,
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah, and it makes a difference on the individual. We don't promote 2-week relationships.
Okay.
Just
Let me help him out. Let me help him out. He
help
doesn't
him out. Help him
promote.
out, Dana.
He don't promote that. I'm his helpmate. I'm getting ready to help him. He doesn't
right, that's
promote it,
Yeah.
but he's just being real about the fact that it can happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did happen, though we dated for 4 years. We were young. I just got out the teens 9 days before the wedding. But 41 years later, we're here and getting better and better.
Yeah.
And just enjoying the ride. So it can happen. It just depends on the two of you.
Yeah.
You know, and I tell people when they tell us when we find out how long we were married, they go, "Oh my God, that's great." And I tell people, don't look at how many years we were married, because I could be married 41 miserable years,
Right.
versus two blissful years. You know, so both parties got to play a role in making it happy for everybody.
Right.
You know, and then you had this saying, a happy wife, a happy life. No, that's not true.
That's true. That's
true.
Well, no,
That
why
is
can't the man be happy? So let's change it to happy spouse, happy house.
Come on now. I like that.
I beg to differ.
Happy house.
I like that.
Come on now.
I beg to
Wait. They both have to be happy, Mel. Come on now.
I'm just saying,
if
if she
wife
happy,
can't be
both
happy,
y'all gonna be happy.
You happy and I'm miserable. No, that
That's
ain't
not
that ain't
right.
fair.
That's not
Not
gonna
always
work.
the case, though.
You're not gonna be miserable.
But can I say something in the Bible? Do
All
you
right,
remember the Old
bring the word.
Testament?
Bring the word.
The men did not even go to war for a whole year. They stayed at home a year with their wives so that they could learn her and learn how to please her.
Right.
And that's in the Old Testament.
Mhm.
And see, and they work together like that.
Right.
You know, and you know, if you have the same faith, now you're on the same. That's a beautiful. I knew your pastor's father. I used to go on retreat with him.
Our pastor's father married us.
Okay.
Oh wow!
He did our counseling.
Okay.
You see, we've been around a minute. We got married in 1983.
I loved
Okay.
it.
So he left Youth Congress in Virginia, flew up here to marry us, and flew back down after the wedding. So he counseled us, he married us, and he christened both our children.
Oh my goodness! I loved him. I on his radio station. His radio station was Watchman, what of the night, the morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Did y'all
Yes,
hear
ma'am.
that?
So
Do you remember that radio station?
Yes,
Bring it back
mother.
around to, yeah.
We know, mother.
Let's bring it back around to the dating thing. Not
So okay.
Okay,
Well,
what's the purpose
I have
of
a
courting?
question. What
Okay,
is
go
your
ahead.
idea? Okay, so you have a couple, they want to get married. What's your idea or your opinion of someone's ready opposed to not being ready?
Oh, that's a good one, Tish.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
That's a hard one because
well, it's all in what they're willing to be and not be, where the conversation, or rather the interest or the thought. My mother says that if you're even thinking about getting married, you should start getting counseling, because there's some things you need to know about your own consideration, less known going through with it, to become married sooner or later. As far as I'm concerned, ask that question again.
I was like, what's your opinion of a couple that's ready to get
They're
married
ready.
opposed to someone that's not ready?
Being willing to on our website, it says one of our themes, or the theme of our business, is that what matters to you matters to me. What matters to me matters to you. I got to care about what matters to you. Your opinion needs to matter to me most.
Yeah.
Outside of anybody else, including parents, because it says, cleave unto your spouse. You leave your mother and your father. And so what concerns me needs to be your number one priority, no matter how many voices you're hearing, including and especially family. It matters most. So you gently have to make sure you establish that when you're even thinking about marriage.
I just tell people too, and they probably thought I was crazy about it. My desire was to get married and to stay married. I was willing to be henpecked if that's what it took to have my marriage last.
What that mean?
What, henpecked?
You know what it means now.
Get him, mother.
No said. Make yourself clear. Let's clarify him.
Isn't that
is
whip?
where a man, a whip don't have a backbone,
Right.
right there, you know.
I guess that's the extreme of what matters to me. Really matters to him.
Right.
That he'll just take it like it comes, which I would never do.
Yeah, right. If
Right.
he's with
Right.
your backbone,
Right.
you know.
And what matters to me matters
like
to
jelly
him,
back.
and vice versa. To me, what that means is my main concern is God. I never want to hurt him. It hurts me to think that I did something that would hurt him. I don't like him to be mad at me. You know, that just woo. And I remember one time I told him, I'd rather you just write it in a letter or send an email or something instead of telling me. I don't know why I said that, because reading it didn't make me feel no better.
Right.
And I'm not saying like I'm a freak. I'm not saying like I'm a repeat offender or nothing like
Right.
that. But my concern is his feelings.
His heart.
His feelings matter to me. And I'll say this extremely brief. He had his eye removed. He has a prosthetic eye, his left eye, right? Because he started losing his peripheral vision. It just there was some a hemorrhage behind the retina, and so bled into the wall behind the retina. So he had to have a surgery. One of the options, after many things they tried to treat it, didn't work. So the doctor said the last resort, and he was a wonderful doctor, is that we remove it and give you a prosthetic eye. That way you wouldn't have to deal with the pain or the discomfort or keep on treating and treating and treating. So he calls me at work and says, I called Dr. whatever his name is and said, I told him I want to have the surgery. Immediately, I was like, oh my God. I didn't say it to him, but he didn't call me and say, I'm thinking about calling the doctor. He said, I called him and told him I want to have the surgery. And I'm like, when were you going to talk to me? That's a serious decision too. You know, whether it was serious or not, he didn't call me first. But after I got over it, immediately I shifted this matter to him. And it ain't my eye.
Right.
And so I immediately shifted into supporting him. When we're going to do this, let's talk about that. So your concern needs to be his concern. His concern needs to be my concern. Otherwise, why are we even together?
Wow.
That has to be the whole point going in.
Yeah.
All your curves and all your edges. John Legend said that in that song. All of you, all of me loves all of you.
All of
That's
them.
right.
Whatever that looks like.
Diana, I was thinking about the other thing as far as like finances. Like, you know how some people get with somebody. I want to know. I want to see your credit report. I want to see your criminal, if you have a jail record. You know what I'm saying? That's what I meant by being ready opposed to not being ready as well. Mentally,
Well, that too.
yes, but then
It should be a part of the discussion.
yeah.
Be careful how you approach that subject, because
Okay.
you don't want to push somebody away. You know, whether that be their fault they're there or not, because some people don't appreciate that. He worked at Chicken George when I met him. Well, you know, while I was before I
At
dated
Chicken
him,
what?
he worked at Chicken George. Remember
Well,
that?
that's good. That's a decent wage.
He worked
Okay.
at Chicken George, but that didn't mean nothing to me. I was about him. I wasn't about where he worked at.
Yeah.
But you should still, it has to be a part of the conversation. There has to be some knowledge about that. You know, are you an Arab selling watermelon, 5 days a week, for that matter? So it has to be a subject that you gently approach without offense, that you gently approach without judgment. And then discuss where you are. Once you discuss finances, values, and your history, those things like that. These are the things that I'd like to discuss. What do you feel about that?
And see, also, your point is good. You know, you should know their credit history, their credit reports, their criminal record, and all that kind of stuff, because you don't want to jump into a bowl of fire. You know,
Right.
and the other person should be mature and honest enough to discuss these things up front. You know, you shouldn't come into a relationship blindly.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
if I came to her, I liked her, but I got 10 car payments and baby mamas and all that kind of stuff, she need to know that. And it'd be her to decide whether she wants to deal with that or not.
Right.
Not that it's wrong, because
Yeah.
as I was coming up, I always told her, if I met a woman who had a child, I was turned off. I don't know why. I just felt that way. I didn't want to go date a girl who had children. You know, I don't know if that was wrong or right, but that's the way I felt.
That was your
You
opinion.
know,
Yeah. That's
and
right.
then so you
But
have
you
your,
have a right to feel that way, because
Yeah.
That's a lot to
don't cover up
consider.
how you really feel.
Right.
Yeah, don't cover up how you really feel, because
And
for some people they're cool with that.
Yeah.
But it's a lot to consider with that, you know, because you got
Yeah.
all the when his bills become your bills, his child support become
Yeah.
your child support.
And so
Yeah,
these,
but it may
these
be
are
okay. Right.
yeah,
It may
these
be
are
okay
dating
with you.
questions anyway. Like this is a first date question. You know, before the
Right.
second date, I need to
Sure.
know, you know, what's going on with you. You know, before we even get to marriage counseling, you need to know about that person.
Yeah.
Right.
And I
You
think
don't know
I
what their
think
baggage
with
is, then you're walking into trouble.
I'm telling you.
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
I think with if it's an older person, they should have those things established or have goals to get those
Right.
things, you know, because
Right.
things
Yeah.
happen. Things happen in your life.
Definitely a
You
list.
That's
know, you
true.
may have gone
Right.
through bankruptcy or something,
Yeah.
or you know, have a
Sure.
record, you know, but you
Sure.
are
Sure.
pursuing to fix it and improve. You're not like, oh well, it
Yeah.
happens every
Right.
year or something. They take my car, they repossess it.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
You know, the mistake, Melanie, and
So
the
you
mistake
need
they
to-
make is that they can change the other
Every
person.
year.
some people do because
that's
they
a
haven't
mistake.
learned.
Wait, you
They
said
haven't
every
learned
year?
from their mistakes.
She said every year you lose your car. What?
They say, I can
My
fix him. I
God.
heard him saying, I can change him. I'll
I
fix
can
him.
change
You
them.
can't
That's
change
crazy.
people.
Yeah.
I have a question.
That's a big
So have
mistake.
you a
Yeah.
big mistake? Exactly. Have you ever encountered a couple that they thought they were ready to get married? They came to you for coaching and counseling, whatever. And then while you were talking to them, you were like, "Well, they're not even right for each other." You know, have you ever been? You ever experienced that at all? And how would you handle that if that happened?
That's hard. Whew. You put her on the spot.
Isn't that you
I'm trying to
deserve
We
think
it?
of what you did.
We haven't had a couple that was in that position, but
Okay.
we had a couple where he was trying to prop it up. I'm gonna just be real. That's what he was trying to do. He was trying to prop it up, and she was trying to knock it down. So he gonna invite her to a counseling session he had not told her about, but we sniffed it out before she even came, because he was like, so and so, you know, come on downstairs, and she.
Well, it all started out. We had a couple. I don't know the names. He called me up and he said that I need you to counsel my wife.
That part.
That right there threw a red flag up to me. So that's how it
You
first
say
started
his
out.
door.
That threw the red flag right there.
We were shaking our head. We was like, okay, I can
Yeah.
see where this is going.
Right. And so we never got a chance to counsel them because they were both on board. But that told me that wasn't you were the issue, not your wife.
Exactly.
Well, we honored his request. We gave him a time and we met, because there are two. My uncle said there are three sides to every story: yours, mine, and the truth.
True.
But so we honored his request, and he called her downstairs. We was like, "Watch this. She don't know nothing." He was like, he said, "Yeah, I got Hubie and Dianna on here because we knew them. You know, we had met them before." And it was like, "Oh, I like your relationship." So she was like, she said, "Hey, y'all." She said, "So what's going on?" We was like, and under the table, we like, So she did not know. So he proceeds to tell us what's wrong in the relationship, and he wants us to help her to understand how they can keep their relationship and keep their marriage going, and what can we do for her to help her. And she's looking like, if I could punch him in his face right now without being locked up, I would. So we are at the so we helped her the best we could, and we had a conversation. But one of the things that I mentioned to him after we let him have his say is, I heard a lot about her, but I have heard you say nothing about you. What we have to be careful of, whether we're in a marital relationship, or it's just us. A lot of times it's just us. And recognizing that is a mature, respectable, and responsible way to be in a relationship, whether it's wobbly or not. And he wasn't accepting any accountability for what he did or did not bring to the relationship. But you want us to fix her. So,
Right,
sir,
exactly.
tell us about what you think maybe you could have done better in the relationship that brought you here. What was it that maybe you could have worked on? He said, well, I was saying such and such and such, but then she was like, she don't want. I said, but I hear a lot of she, but I don't hear any he. And so we wanted to help him to take an inward look,
Okay.
the man in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And he was avoiding that at all costs. So we entertained maybe another session with them. And then the third time when we got together, before we got together another time, I sent her a text outside of him. You got to know how to play on words. So I suggested that I have her number, just in case I want to send her some questions that I want her to ask me at the next
I would have
session.
done
That
that
was my little gimmick to get her number.
Right.
So I sent her a text and I said, listen to what I'm saying. And I'm not telling you what to do, but you clearly have a super strong, extreme decision that you are done and that you need to walk away. If that's what you feel you need to do, then you do what you feel you need to do without me telling you, because someone else manipulating your decisions and you staying on for the ride just because is not healthy for you or for him. You can help him and you by walking away if that's the choice you want to make. So feel free not to show up for the next session. If that's a choice you want to make, you let me know. And she texts me back that next day, I won't be showing up for the next session.
And so that's how we end our sessions, because we don't do it separately. We want the couples to be together when we're talking to them.
Right.
And there might be a side thing where I might speak to the husband, just a man-to-man thing, or she might speak to the woman, a man-to-man thing. But the majority of our sessions, we require that both couples are together and in agreement.
That's good.
And we've done in person and online.
Okay. Unless he's crazy. I say unless he's crazy.
Right, exactly.
Because I went to see a therapist, right? And it was like, we need to go see somebody. That lady looked at me and she was like, okay, I'm going to talk to you by yourself, and I'm going to get a male to talk to him in another room. I was like, thank you so much. Because you have to discern crazy. And she discerned crazy. Because you got to protect.
We've been there too.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've been there too. And we when we hung up, we looked at each other, we was like, oh my God, I don't know what we're gonna do with this one. That was a head shaker. And I was like, I can see right now he's gonna take a lot of work. And we're gonna have to kind of change his mindset for him to even absorb and receive anything that's being said. There's some things we're going to have to chop down off this tree, because it was getting in the way. You can't receive what you're blocking when your mind is set. We need you to cooperate and participate in the process, and not if you're tearing me down, you can't build me up at the same time. And that was a major part That was
I
a
have.
major part of the problem. So we had to identify that first to
Mhm.
get him to meet her halfway on even wanting to find out how can we make this better.
I have
Wow.
a
Yeah.
question.
But there.
Doesn't salvation on both sides play a big part in this thing? If both of them are saved according to the scriptures and believe God the same way, doesn't that play a big part in
Yes,
it?
if you're talking to a couple
You can't
that
be only believing.
that are faith based, yeah. If they're secular, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But if they're in the faith, then yeah, in the faith, then absolutely that plays a part in the whole discussion and conversation for the counseling. And but being careful that you're not all head knowledge and heart without the heart, because even in the church there was a saying when we were over the couples ministry, and one of the things that we did for one of our sessions, we said, you said I do, but you married the ministry.
Mhm.
Everything about the church,
Yeah. Yeah.
everything about the word, everything
Mhm.
about praying at the altar and church and the Bible and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But God brought Adam and Eve here naked and not ashamed.
Yeah.
Right.
So he was all about coming in. That was the first nudist colony right there. That was the start of it. They didn't even know they was naked. But he started it off.
Yeah.
And so all you do is be in the word and you married to the ministry. What you say I do to me for? You say I do to the ministry.
Mhm.
If I got a problem, I need you not to be holding the Bible, reading a bunch of scriptures over me. I need you to talk to me
Right.
and be
That's so
there to
true.
support me. So
Yeah.
knowing how that looks and how that feels to your spouse is vital. That it's God first,
Oh yeah.
then the spouse, then the
Mhm.
children. The word tells us
Mm-hmm.
spouse, a God, spouse,
The
and then children.
family.
We let our kids know that early. Y'all
Mhm.
don't come first. He'll let them know in a minute. If your mother has to eat, she's going to eat. We get to y'all in a minute. I got to find out what me and your mother going to eat first.
Right.
And so it's identifying the protocol and the priorities of how you handle that.
Yes, and when you're in the faith,
That's
you
so
must be equally yoked. You can't be a
Yeah,
Muslim
right.
and a Catholic together. You
right.
have to be equally yoked, believe in the same things. And when she as to piggyback when she said is God, your spouse, you, and everybody else is an outsider. So
Right, right.
Now
You
the way
have to
we
be, you
say
have
it,
to,
we say
uh-huh.
God first, the family,
you,
the church is third, and your job. But we didn't understand at first. We thought it was God and the church
Yeah,
was the same, but it's not the same.
It's not the
Right.
same. Yeah.
We thought
right,
it was the
right,
same, but we found that it was God and your family,
Yeah.
and then
right
the
right,
in the
church,
right.
church. Yeah.
Right.
and then you always
Mm-hmm.
have
And
a
there,
time
it,
to,
yeah,
you
absolutely.
know,
There
you
is
know what I'm saying.
also
You always have a time
a saying,
set aside to go on a vacation
mhm,
by yourself. We
Mm,
try to
wow.
do that every
absolutely,
year too.
absolutely.
We try to do that.
That's
Somebody
it's
kept the
important. It's
12
important.
children, and we went on a vacation
Hmm.
once a year.
Wow. Yeah.
That's right.
And I
That's
would
right.
like
You
to
have to
say
do that.
also with because mommy was saying you have to have the same faith, believe in God and you save and all that kind of stuff. I would like to also say, in addition, you need to be mature Christians because some people have been in church for 40 years
Oh yeah.
and
No.
still don't
Hmm.
understand, the word of God and still
Yeah.
don't have
That's
that
so
close
true.
relationship with
Sure,
God. So you can still
sure.
be in the church, but not, at the same level,
Yeah, in the
you
Sure.
building.
have to
Mhm.
Mature in God.
yes,
In the
Right.
building.
You
yes,
still on meat. You ain't tasted steak yet.
right,
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You still
still
on milk.
milk,
You ain't had no
All
meat.
milk.
Right.
Mhm.
So
yeah,
Right.
yeah, and there's nothing wrong with growing together.
Right.
But you need to have a certain relationship and a certain understanding and some strengths that help you to be in a relationship the way that you need to be, and not just always show up every Sunday.
Mhm.
Showing up is a whole different story than what did you show up for.
Mm-hmm.
So going through the motions doesn't support the same as you engaging God in the
Yeah.
service and fellowshipping with other brothers and sisters. Because when you walk away, that needs to go with you, because
Mm-hmm.
the church is in you
Right.
and not in
That's
the
We
good.
are
building.
the church.
So yeah, that
Right.
Oh yeah.
we are the church, and
Absolutely.
identifying and understanding, because a lot of people are just pew warmers, as my pastor
Yeah.
calls it.
Mm.
Or
They're just
bench
pew
warmers.
warmers, and
That's
but
the pew warmers.
there is a
Absolutely.
difference. Yeah,
Yes, it
there's
is.
a
Absolutely.
huge difference. Yeah.
Right. Right. So, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So,
No.
so, okay. So, if trust in the relationship has been broken, how do you advise a couple to rebuild that trust?
Ooh, that's a good one too.
It is good.
Let me get my notes that I wrote
Oh,
down
he
here.
cleared his throat.
All right. All
Okay.
right. Get ready, Tawanda.
I'm ready.
All right, wait a minute.
Your girl is ready.
So,
Tell 'em, get in the camera. Get in the
first
camera.
of
We need
all,
to see.
uh,
Okay.
And my daughter just texted me, make sure daddy is more to the left. Move it over.
okay.
Sound like Tisha. Tisha does me like that.
That's our other mother.
First, I'm
Uh
gonna
oh.
read this. First, we know we got to define what is trust. To believe in the reliability of another person because you feel safe with them and you have confidence that they will not hurt or violate you. Trust is the foundation of relationship because it allows you to be vulnerable and open to someone because you feel a sense of security and loyalty to that person. What do you mean when you say trust? You do you mean you don't believe they are honest, or do you mean you don't believe you can depend on them? Trust could be like a bank account. It could be like a bank account. You have to make deposits into your relationship,
That's good.
and you have to keep them deposits on the positive side. When you do things that would decrease my trust, you're making withdrawals from my relationship, and I'm drawing further away from you. So the more you build up and make these deposits into your relationship bank account, the more your trust on someone can be grown or be more into it. A marriage has many necessary ingredients. No marriage can be successful without trust. And this is my opinion. Trust is something you give, and it's something you is not and it is it or not something you earn.
Earn it.
You give it, you earn it,
Earn it.
Yeah.
and you give it. Trust is not something you take or demand from somebody. You have to earn the trust and give it. And I tell husbands that you have to love your wife just as Christ loved the church. And I go into a little thing. What did he do for the church? He died for the church. So I will die for my wife. And then there could be a physical death, dying for my wife, or it could be dying to my habits, smoking cigarettes, dying to hanging out with my friends. So I gotta deny myself for my wife in order for her to trust me and to grow. And the wife on the same side has to also do the same thing. We are to love our husbands. We need to feel empowered and confident in our spouses. What else? When all these things are taken away, then the trust and the relationship just falls apart. So we have to feel safe and confident with our spouse. And to me, that's what trust is. I hope I didn't go too far out.
No,
So
it's
one of the
good.
things to compactly explain to one that we discuss with couples is that we take them through a battery of questions in 1 to 2 sessions where they're asking each other, what can I do to gain your trust or regain your trust,
Okay.
or stay trustworthy. Um, um, is there anything that I have done to cause you to question, to question my honesty? Anything that has caused you not to trust me? So we have them to rehearse between each other questions and answers they ask of each other, because a lot of times, well, all the time, it makes a difference what you hear out loud versus what you assume,
Yes.
versus what you suppose.
Mhm.
Hearing it out loud, sometimes you be like, wow, I never knew they
Yeah.
felt like that.
Right.
Or I never heard them say that about me. What is it about me that can make you feel better? How can I make you better? And this is what I would like from you to help me to do better. So it has to be a mutual desire to reach a healthy point of understanding that I trust you and you trust me. If that trust has been compromised, then having a mutual desire to put in the work, because marriage is a labor of love, work of love. So mutual desire is called choices. So you have to make a choice to engage in the work of the marriage, because the vows are not like buying a pair of shoes. You can bring the receipt all you want. There's no takebacks, there's no refunds or whatever. You just don't go and say I do, and then decide, what, I changed my mind. You didn't just buy a pair of shoes. You invested in a life with someone else.
Yes.
So just hanging it up and like, oh, I quit them shoes, because I've quit some shoes before. They don't treat me right. So I'll quit from heels. I'll be like, boo, we done. We broke up. I'm breaking up with you. But you can't treat marriage. It's not love, and it's not right, and it's not fair. And so you have to be considerate enough of each other to identify what can we do for each other, and what is it about me, wanting to know, is there something that I did or did not bring to the table that has caused us to be here? And so respecting and accepting that. It might be something about me, in every relationship, somebody might have done something at one point or another, and so did you. But identifying which one of us needs to work on what, identifying what that is, and helping each other see what that is and understand.
But
And
what
I can
he
say
said,
with all the ingredients of marriage, communication, finance, intimacy, relationship, I think trust is the hardest one to build up.
Yeah.
That might be my own
Brother Hubert,
my own thing. Yeah.
what I got
Mother's
from you
talking to you.
said
Yeah.
about like putting money in the bank, and to accumulate interest, it takes time. It takes time. So a relationship, sometimes we don't give enough time. Somebody say 3 to 5 years, and I'm out of here. It takes time to build that
for sure.
trust, especially if it's broken. You really have to build it.
Trust is
And
hard to build back up.
forgiveness plays a part.
It does.
It plays a big part. It takes time.
And I like what Diana kept saying over and over and over and over again was mutual. She kept saying mutual. Well, it has to be, both parties on the same page that are willing, to fix this, willing to work at it or whatever. Because if it's one person that wants it and the other person don't, it's, there's going to be problems. There's always going to be friction and, stuff. So that's good. It has to be mutual understanding.
And it's also frustrating when you're talking to a spouse and they hear what they want to hear and not what you're saying. How do you shift that? Like, you know good and well, I don't mean this, but you hear me saying something else that I'm not saying.
Yeah. With a pot and just
a pot, Mel, not a pot.
What? Man, you want to race like that. Stop it.
Come on, y'all. Give us some
You've never seen that before in your house. Stop it.
Sometimes you feel what you feel.
Thank you.
And hold your peace and pray. Hold your peace.
I want to say, I mean,
No,
we've never been there.
Yeah.
I had an uncle that lived with us for years. And my mother did this appreciation, surprise appreciation party for Hubert and I. And we were like, say, what is going on here? A surprise? You know, she said, I just wanted to show you your father and I appreciate you all so much. And all these people are in there. We were like, oh my God, what did we do? You know? And so one of the things my uncle said when he got up was, I lived with them for X amount of years. He said, and I always used to think, is this guy real for real about my niece? And my other uncle said that too. And my one uncle said, well, I don't even really know him. He said, but they sure seem like they go good together. So the one uncle that lived with us said, he said, one thing that just keeps on staying on my mind is I never heard them argue. And he was like, that can't be possible. And I said, you know what, Uncle Melvin, and a mentor of mine called it heated discussions, is what they called it, instead of calling it an argument. But it was an argument all the same.
Or we could call it moments of improvement.
Moments of improvement. But nevertheless, it's absolutely not true that we never disagreed.
Yeah.
But yelling at each other is just not how we're wired as a couple. And it's unnecessary for us to get our point across. It's unnecessary to let you know how I feel, that I'm up here and you're up here. And we are, first of all, if one is up, the other one need to be down. You can't talk and listen at the same time. You can't sing and chew at the same time. So identifying how can we be heard? How can we be seen one to the other? Is accommodating each other in the moment, whether the moment is good or not good. And that's how and we've never been at each other's throat ever in our 41 years.
And one thing I think we made this agreement that we will never argue in front of people or let them know they're mad at us or we mad at each other. Right. And I remember one incident where I did something. I don't know what I did. No, I'm gonna tell you two stories. One story, we did something. It was on a Sunday. We was going to church. She was mad at me for something. I don't know what it was.
Oh yeah,
right. But when we got to church, she was all lovey-dovey and all that kind of stuff. I said, "Oh, she got over it, right?" The minute church was over, she switched just like this.
You thought she got over it?
Oh my God!
Everything has its place. Everything has its place.
So it was gone, right? I don't know what happened then. I know one time,
but I did that too to protect my relationship.
Yeah,
because I don't want them to think this is who we are. You know,
Right.
Though you should know if you don't have no problems in your marriage, you need to be concerned. It's just like cream of wheat with lumps. Sometimes you're gonna have lumps and you need to get them lumps out.
That's right.
But being tactful, as my uncle says, you got to have finesse.
Right.
Ain't nobody gonna be talking about my marriage. Anybody gonna have a problem? It only should be us. It should only be us. I was protecting my man.
Let's say, don't air your dirty laundry.
Early in our marriage, I think.
That's right.
Right, that's what it was then.
Exactly.
I mean, one time early in our marriage, I don't know if I did something or she did something, but we was mad at each other, and we didn't speak to each other. Living in the same house, you know, we might say the phone ringing or did you check the mail? That's kind of talk we did, you know. Don't cut the light out. Like and so it went on maybe about for 3 or 4 days, and so then my wife came to me. She said, "Hon, how long are we gonna do this?" I'm not gonna do what? You know, I'm gonna do what? Not talk to each other like that, right? And so one day I said, no, before that, I said, did you want to talk? No, I ain't ready to talk. Right? I said, fine. So it went 3 days went past, and she said, well, how long are we gonna do this? I said, well, you said you wasn't ready to talk. So when you got ready, you'll come to me. Like that. So when we finally decide we won't do that no more, wait out long time, we'll bring things up.
Right.
But the crazy thing about it, when we came back to talk to each other, we forgot what we was mad about.
Right, exactly. we didn't even remember what it was. And I was like, first of all, I was mad because he didn't even remember what we was mad about. And then I was like, forget it. But God got jokes too, because when we were mad at each other, he is the head of the ushers to this day. And so he ushered the choir up. And he's standing right there, and I'm sitting there because I'm the lead person of the pastor's adjutants, or well, the female adjutants. And so I'm sitting right there at the bottom of the steps leading up to the pulpit, and the choir's going up, So while he's standing there escorting the choir, I pull him over, and I was like, look down at your feet. He had on 2 different color shoes. I said, see, that's what you get. That's what you get for messing up this morning. Because remember we was talking about that? I said, that's what you get. So he looked at me and I look at him and we bust out laughing. I said, that's exactly what you thought about that. And so he up there, stand up there with 2 different color shoes on, a black one and a brown one. And it was so funny to me. I said, that's exactly what you get. And so we laughed at each other, but we're clowns with each other. So knowing how to get over it.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to get over it and not invest in that does not add to you, but it takes away. It doesn't deposit, but it makes withdrawal. Love doesn't hurt. It should cushion the blow.
Wow.
It should cushion the blow.
So good.
And that's what we're all about.
Yes.
That is what we are all about.
Yes.
Cushioning the blow.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on our show. We really enjoyed you guys. We want y'all to come back. We
Well,
that was so good.
we was
Oh
like,
my
I hope we worked 10 cents on there because we never did this before.
Thank y'all at Virtualand for tuning in to another episode of Chillin' with the Girls. And come back next week. We're gonna have our cooking going on. I'm gonna make some good I'm gonna do some juices because I'm doing that 30-day faith detox. So we got Melanie gonna be cooking and Tawanda will be in our kitchen. You don't want to miss it. You want to get some really healthy recipes. Tune in next week. Love you guys.
All right.
Chillin'.